Good morning. Welcome to the MeMap podcast. Hopefully, this is working. If you found me, I know you're ready to activate your highest potential timeline to transform your life and lead from a place of soul alignment and heart-led brilliance. Welcome to the transformative world of the MeMap podcast, lighting your path to self-discovery, lasting lifestyle transformation, and soul-aligned success. Together, we're going to navigate the landscape of human potential, your potential, unlocking the wisdom of your inner world and manifesting it in your personal and professional practice. I am your host, Kristy Lee Rackham. I am the visionary creator of the Me Map, best-selling author, CEO of Soulscribe Publishing, spiritual teacher, and transformational guide. And I'm here to help you. Let's go. This is your sacred space for radical self-discovery and spiritual evolution. This is where you're going to rewrite your story. What has been happening in the past is not what has to happen in the future. So we're going to rewrite your story using the Me Map as our pathway, as our model for transformation. The Me Map is way more than a tool. It's a whole being shift. And today we are shifting through the growth and skills petal. Yay! This is actually one of my favorite because it seems to have a direct line to our essential being, the soul self, the inner sun, as I like to call it sometimes. So this is where your innate knowing, your strengths, your gifts, your talents start to shine through you and into what you do in the world, your vocations, your study, your skills and activated tasks. We want those to be activated from a place of soul understanding and personal evolution and growth that's ornate, innate, and organically you. So to what extent, I guess, is the question, are you consciously and consistently checking in with your inner growth and developing and elevating your unique blueprint of abilities that you were actually graced to use in this life? We were all born with unique gifts, talents, and abilities. And I want to talk to that because we automatically go to things that we do, but actually it can be our very presence that is the gift. Okay. I deal a lot with neurodivergent people. I am autistic ADHD, as are my children. And I know for a fact that particularly neurodivergent kids, they come in with the gifts that are embodied to change humanity. A lot of them initiate kindness in parents. They exemplify patience. You know, we have to be patient with them. We have to engage. We have to energetically tune in to children who have these differences in order to support them in life. So this potentially is one of their gifts, right? They also end up having a hyper focus or a special interest that they were born to embody on this planet. So they can bring that forward if they're given the right environment and the right sustaining practices that enhance their original blueprint, that enhance the gifts that they were born to give the world. So how are you implementing and integrating your knowledge, your innate wisdom, your expression, your soul's expression, actively on the planet to self-serve and serve others? Self-serve. You know, we often hear this self-serving in a negative context, but when we serve self and soul, we're automatically connected to the wisdom of the universe. We're automatically in tune with the goodness that we were born to embody. And through that self-service, devotion and dedication to our essence and our gifts and our talents and our being, we overflow with goodness into the world, and we can serve others from that place of knowing of who we are and what we're here to do, who we're here to be. And when we are overflowing with that goodness, with our divine, authentic expression, the doing in the world becomes a lot more aligned, a lot more seamless, a lot more easy, effortless, joyful, adventurous, pleasant for ourselves. And when we're feeling all of those sensations of gifts fulfilled and actualized, We're better people. We have meaning, we have purpose, we have presence, and others benefit from that experience directly. We're better people. I know this with my kids. When I really started to step into who I am as an individual rather than masking all the time or getting stuck in jobs that didn't light me up, that weren't aligned with who I am, and beginning to really embody my natural creative tendencies, even if it started small, I became much more calm. I became a better parent. I became a better human. I started to have an ample abundance of essence to share with other people. And now I get to do stuff like this. I'm on YouTube for fun. I'm not here because I'm making any money out of this. I don't make money out of YouTube. I'm here because I'm naturally inclined to share my essence. I'm naturally inclined to bring my gifts of communication, my gifts of insight and inspiration to you, to help you. So, and hopefully that does. And if not, move on. Swipe to another short story or whatever they're called. I don't even know. I'm such a boomer, right? Okay. So the question is, and I want you to contemplate this as we move through the growth and skills today. How are you becoming more of who you were truly born to be, of who you are at your essence? How are you expressing the growth that's innate in a soul? Are you stemming that off? Are you stifling your creative impulses? Are you pushing them aside and asking them to come back later? Because trust me, if you do that enough, it takes a while for them to come back. And usually they come back in some form of a crisis where you get sick or you lose your job or somebody else in your family has a crisis and you're the parent. So you have to put your own growth and skills aside in order to satisfy something in the immediate environment. These are ways that your soul is calling you for attention. It's saying, hey, slap, wake up. You've got things to give in this world, but you are stemming off the flow of natural talent, of natural gifts, of natural creative expression. So the gifts and talents, the growth and skills petal is orange on the map. It's orange for a reason because it aligns with the sacral chakra. The frequency of creationary energy is at the sacral chakra. It's our womb if you're a woman. It's your essence if you're a man. And this is where our connection to creative expression is amplified and is able to be embedded and experienced on an earthly plane. And when we're in alignment with the sacral chakra and it's healthy and it's happy and we're expressing organically, we're naturally tuned in to the creative expression of the whole universe. Nature itself is sacral in nature, if you like. Nature itself is a flourishing creative expression at all times, even in death, even in death. Creativity is not just about birthing things. It's about letting things die when they're finished. It's about destruction as much as it is creation, because life is ever evolving, skills are ever developing, growth is ever expanding. If we are stagnant, we are not in creative flow. If we are stagnant and we are stemming our life force energy through the sacral chakra, we are shutting that down. We are not embodying the gifts and talents and skills and the beauty that we uniquely are here to bring the planet. Okay, so the growth and skills petal is orange. Orange also represents emotions. It also represents emotional well-being. So bringing emotional well-being into this picture, if we're not creating as humans are designed to do, humans are designed to innovate. We're designed to be in unison with the natural environment and create as the universe creates. We are a microcosm of universal creation. So emotions can be all over the place if we're not creating. We can feel flat, we can feel ineffectual, we can feel starved and hollow. So every petal of the me map, oh gosh, I was going to show you a map again because some of you are new to me. Let me just pull this up on the screen. It's a very small picture, my apologies. Hang on. Try and make it bigger. I don't like to interrupt my channeled flow, but here we go. Okay, share. So this is the 2D representation. Can you see it yet? Yes. This is a 2D representation of the me map. We've done emotion and energy, environment, body, manifestation of mind, community and connection, and skills and growth. I like to come from the inside out. So when I usually talk about them, it's this way: body, environment, mind, and manifestation, connection, community, growth, and skills. At the center of the me map is 0 point. This is where we connect to all things in existence. This is where creation and destruction actually originates. This is the fabric of all existence. And at 10 out of 10, there's a sliding scale here. It's invisible on this. But I am bringing out a book that explains all of this and actually is a practical guide to working through your own me map. I'm very excited. I forgot to tell you about that. I'm very excited. This is something I've been working on for a little while. I was going to wait until 2026 to release the full metaphysical book with all the background. But my intuition's been smacking me over the head saying the universe needs this now. Don't wait. People need a guide. They need a map. They don't know how to ascend. They don't know how to find their authentic self. They don't know how to activate their spiritual essence. So I've been told to release the practical guide ASAP. I am in final edit stage right now, the draft. You can get a beta copy of this book directly from my training website, which I will drop into the description below. It is the original version. It's a workbook or a guidebook, and it alchemizes the essence of who you are and what you're here to do on the planet when you follow the me map on a daily basis. So the practical guidebook is ready. You can get it on my website now. This book will also be released on Amazon within the next month and a half. So by the time I get to the next petal, which is our final petal of security and economy, the book will be available on Amazon as well. So I'll be doing a proper launch. So stay tuned for that. But if you want a beta copy, an original beta copy, you can go to my website right now. So growth and skills is what we're at today. So we've come around the circle in a clockwise direction. My apologies, I'm tripping over my words today. So that's the me map 2D representation. It is based on sacred geometry, so it's multidimensional in nature, but of course we can't yet show you holograms in real time. But the me map connects you to your own fractal of evolution, because the flower of life is embedded into the fabric of life itself. So as you move through the me map, you are opening to the magic and manifesting brilliance of the building blocks of the universe. All things start to become possible. We only then become limited by what we think is possible. But we talked about that in Mind and Manifestation. So go back and watch that as well if you feel inclined. All right. Back to, one second while I navigate my screens here. Back to growth and skills. So there's an affirmation for every single petal. The affirmation, it's not just an affirmation, it's an intention. It's a conscious activation. When you use this affirmation, you are intending to the universe, this is where I'm going. I'm heading towards 0 in the growth and skills petal. And the affirmation is the guiding light to help you move towards 0. It's the reminder of where you're going, of what you're expanding into. It's the anchor that helps you remember your divinity. So each one of the petals has its own goal, 0 point goal or affirmation. So for growth and skills, the affirmation or the goal or the intention is, I am evolving and expanding. The I am part of a statement is really important. It's a declaration. It's a command to the higher part of yourself that's connected to all that is. So when you make this command, you're not just saying a sentence. You're declaring what you already are to be true. I am evolving and expanding. This is a fact. There is no refuting that. You are. No matter how stuck you seem, no matter how stagnant you feel, There is no doubt that as time passes, you are evolving and expanding. So these affirmations or these 0 point goals speak directly to the part of you that knows what's true. This is why they're so powerful. So the point of the growth and skills petal is to assess and evaluate our own sense of personal growth and the integration of skills as working implemented knowledge rather than just ideas and possibilities and vague dreams that you never actually get around to doing anything with. They are also, the skills part of the petal is the application of your unique skills, talents, and gifts in alignment with your soul blueprint. How are you actually activating your gifts that are specific to you, unique to you? So this petal explores the inner evolution of soul, which is your growth, and the outer expression of that growth in terms of skills and applied actions. So growth asks, are you evolving? And in what way and in which direction? And skills asks, are you actually embodying what you have learned? That is key. You will get stuck in the growth and skills petal if you're not actually implementing the impulses that your soul is sending you. The intuitive knowing that says, you need to play an instrument. And the head goes, well, I can't play an instrument. That's ridiculous. I don't have time. I've got no creative skill or talent. I don't know where to start. I don't know anything about music, right? The head gets involved and starts, really giving you a hard time. This is where you get stuck. You've literally turned off the flow of inspiration and you're stopping your natural inherent growth. So what the growth tells you is, here's where your natural gifts and talents lie. And it might not be that you're suddenly going to become a master cellist, but it might be that in the unlocking and the allowance of creative flow, that you discover you have a gift for teaching. And maybe you don't end up teaching cello. Maybe you end up teaching people how to access their own creative talents. Or maybe your gift is working with disabled people, people with disability. And that moment that you said yes to your creativity, you discovered that you can actually be with people with music and light them up and activate their growth. Right? So it's not about the end result. It's not about the destination. It's about what unfolds on your fractal of soul growth when you decide to embody the thing that your growth, your soul is calling you to. And then the reflections start in the natural environment. Suddenly, when you've activated your growth and you've said yes to it, even if it's crazy, even if it's weird, even if you can't see where it's going to go, you say yes. There is data that comes from that in the form of reflections from the outer reality back to you that say, yes, this is the way. Do more of this. And you start getting these serendipitous little moments in your reality that reaffirm the decision that you just made to enhance your skills, to say yes to your growth, even if it's weird. So it doesn't always have to be musical talents. It could be, artistic. It could be coding IT, for AI. Who knows? That's still creative. What are you creating? How are you creating? What's in your grace to create? So embodiment is the key here. Growth is about alignment with your higher self, saying yes to your soul. Skills are about the sacred tools that you gather and implement and express in tangible form on the earthly plane. So this petal is all about reflecting your inner expansion in tangible ways and following the growth and natural movement, the natural pace and rhythm and depth of your own soul's evolution over time. So even without answers, you might sense, I know I'm evolving and expanding, and my intuition rather, will tell me what I need to grow and expand into next if I'm paying attention. So all the other petals, this is why there's a progression to the map as well. All the other petals get you ready to hear, to be able to enact. and implement your growth and expansion in tangible ways. So there's a need for trust in the process, right? Even amidst uncertainty. This is a key marker actually of alignment when you start to trust that inner voice and you follow the growth tangent, you follow the unfolding of the fractal to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing, and life naturally expands. You know, trust is a key marker that you're growing. And then we acquire skills to support that growth. One second. Please excuse me. I was at I went to the United States, which is why there was a gap in MEMAP, because I was overseas for a month, meeting my family, seeing my brother and his three beautiful boys. And I was exploring and expanding and following my soul's growth into new amazing experiences. As you might have heard, one of these things that's been in gestation that I've been diligently following is Soul Scribe Publishing, which is now all official. I've been publishing for years now, but I've fully stepped into that particular company now, and I have staff, and we are producing amazing soul-led books for entrepreneurs, for health and well-being professionals, for restaurateurs, for all sorts of amazing people who have really important things to share, who have actually embraced their soul's growth. They are actually expressing through a huge array of different amazing skills, and I help them to publish their wisdom, their skills, their modalities and methods and IP, intellectual property, so that you can gain from their wisdom. So if that's of interest to you, I'll pop a link down below as well. If you are somebody who knows you've got huge things to share and you want to actualize your creative essence, and learn new skills, maybe you need to talk to me about writing your own book. That could be fun. All right, so let's go down. Right, so I've already explained again that there's a 0 to 10 sliding scale. 0 at the center of the map is your 0 point. It's your connection to your essence and to the universal flow. 10 out of 10 is chaos, right? So I want you to think about, where on this sliding scale am I right now? At 0, I'm in divine alignment and I'm comfortable with the pace of my own evolution and my personal and professional growth. Even if I don't have all the answers yet, even if I'm not sure where I'm going next, I'm following my inspiration and my intuition, and I know that I'm evolving, and I know that I'm expanding, and I am confident that my intuition is going to guide me to what I need next on my path. And I actively call in the people, places, things, and skills, the learning that I need, the resources to activate my growth in a real human, tangible way. At 5 out of 5, at 5 out of 10, let's look at the middle point. That's where the middle pedal becomes the outer pedal. So you're sort of pivoting and leaning in by both ways. So at 5 out of 10, I'm actively learning and putting my skills into place. However, I'm human. So sometimes I slip into information overwhelm. I'm gathering data, information, too much. I'm gathering, but I'm not implementing and integrating very effectively. I might oscillate at a 5 out of 10, right? Sometimes I implement and integrate. Sometimes I'm too caught up in the information and I get all up in my head and I get overwhelmed and then I get anxious and it's a disaster, right? I actually have a little training as a free 20-minute one. I might pop that below as well, about the information integration cycle. It's really key to understanding the growth and skills pedal, actually. So I'll pop that down below, free resource for you. Okay, so you slip up sometimes. At 5 out of 10, I can realize that I've slipped up or that I've gotten into anxiety mode, overwhelm and information gathering instead of implementing. And I can notice that and return to trusting my natural growth and my evolutionary path as a soul. So you might also feel like you're actively learning, but not yet integrating or trusting the process as well as you could be. So it's oscillating. Integration, not integration, flow, stuck. So 10 out of 10, this is chaos, right? I have another model called the 4 phases of healing, which is in the book, and it talks about this in depth, but the 10 out of 10 phase is messy. Okay, I feel stuck. I don't have the skills I need to grow. I know I need to grow, but I feel unable. I feel like I'm just spinning my wheels, knowing something needs to shift, but I have no idea what it is and I don't know where to start. I might be endlessly learning, but not applying, not embodying. It's not going into my cells. Or maybe I feel frozen. Maybe you feel frozen, avoiding change out of fear or fatigue. Life at a 10 out of 10 in the growth and skills pedal can feel really flat, and growth seems completely out of reach. You might be collecting achievements on paper. I call this the workshop junkie. They're out there doing all these workshops, desperately seeking outside of themselves for the answers. Everybody else has got something that I need, but I'm not actually learning anything. I'm just gathering data, words that have no meaning until I implement. So, workshop junkies, that is a phase of healing. That's okay. Rapid information gathering. I went through that too when I was young. Sometimes we do this, sometimes we need to do it. It's part of the process. So there's nothing inherently wrong with it unless you get stuck there and you forget that you actually have to do something with that information, do something with the learning through the process of collecting the information. This is how evolution happens. This is how growth happens, implementing, embodying. So at 10 out of 10, you might also feel, alternatively, like you're not learning anything new at all. You might not be trying new things. You might not be learning new skills, not evolving, or at least feeling like you're not evolving because on the inside you are. There's always a tipping point. People can only handle stagnation for so long until something snaps, right? What I'm trying to encourage people to do is not let it get to the point where you snap. Don't let it become a crisis. A 10 out of 10, that's a person who is in crisis. Don't let it get to that. So by bringing awareness to these things and asking ourselves some gentle questions with a loving heart, we can bring the number towards zero. We can move towards zero where all of life is abundant and flowing and beautiful and expressive. So I hope you're not at a 10 out of 10 because it's a really unpleasant place to be. However, there will be a natural tipping point. I'd like to encourage you to get to that point yourself first and get shifting now. My book, right? The Me Map Alchemy Guidebook. If you don't know, if you're stuck and you're a 10 out of 10, buy the book, please. It's only $5 on my website, $5 Australian. So for those of you in America and Europe, it's very much cheaper. I think it's like $3. If you can't afford $3 to improve your life, I'm not sure. You're probably not my kind of a person, and you wouldn't be watching this anyway. So please spend the money for your sake. I don't need the money. I want you to have this book. $3 goes toward the production. Okay, it goes towards my admin staff to help them to continue to serve you. Help them to continue to serve me to help you, or something to that effect. Okay. So some of the self-discovery reflection questions that you might want to ask yourself if you're out in the outer edges of the growth and skills pedal is, where in my life do I feel like I am growing? What's actually flowing? Because when we can orientate ourselves or orient ourselves to where we are already growing, where there is some flow, where there is some movement, when we lean into that movement, it's like undamming a river, right? Or a creek. Beavers, I'm being brought to the beaver energy. Beavers, they dam up a creek so that they can catch fish and have a place to live and that's protected and safe. But there's only a trickle of the river coming through on the other side. When we lean into the flow, when we lean into the natural current and we take one or two of those branches away, the current expands. The river expands. There's more happening. So where in my life do I feel like I'm growing right now is a good question to ask, because that's where your natural energy is already in process. It's already growing, flowing, expanding, evolving. Lean into that initially. So then, once you know what that is, where do I feel like I've plateaued? Or where am I resisting my intuitive impulses to grow? Where am I resisting change? Tell you a funny little story. I was in the park last week, and I was having a difficult emotional day. I'd had a PTSD trigger, and I was working through that in my body and just, using all my tools and skills to regroup and calm my farm. And one of the things that I decided to do that helps me reground is to go into nature. So I took my daughter and we went and grabbed a coffee, and I said, instead of sitting in the car or drinking this on the run back to home, because that's, avoidance, trying to rush on to the next thing. I said, what if we went, let's just go into the park and sit, put our feet on the ground, hug a tree, whatever. And on the way into the park, I noticed in my peripheral vision a man on the other side of the park sitting on a park bench with a guitar. And my intuition peaked, but I was still in emotion. I was still making a beeline for my own park bench away from all the people so that I could calm my farm, breathe, connect with nature. So I dismissed it. But my intuition's pretty strong these days, and my soul doesn't let me get away with anything. So the whole time I'm sitting there drinking my coffee, trying to ground into the earth beneath me, my intuition's saying, go and talk to this guy, go and talk to this guy, go and talk to this guy. I'm like, what? Why would I want to do that? I don't feel good. I'm not really expressing in my best state at the moment. I don't really want to go and engage with a human right now. That was my resistance, right? My resistance to the change that my intuition was asking for. Anyway, it kept hitting me over the head. So anyway, I finished my coffee, went towards the rubbish bin, and my soul just literally took my body with it and walked me over. It was almost involuntary, walked me over to right in front of this guy. And I struck up a random conversation with him about music. And what unfolded was nothing short of fantastic. It was quite incredible. This man was receptive to me, for starters. My intuition had taken me there, so I figured there must be a reason. He was, we started talking about music. I used to play cello. I've bought a harp, but I'm not actually using it right now. I can't play cello very easily anymore because of injuries. But we got talking about music. My son's a musician. They had both been playing at the same festival. Amazing. Um, he invited myself and my daughter to come and hear him play. And I said, yes, sure. So he sent me the information. I gave him my number. He sent me the info. As it turned out, the place that he was playing at on Sunday was where I was going to take my dad to for Father's Day, a little festival in a country town. And so we went, my dad, my daughter, and myself, we all went and listened to him play. And through all of that weekend as well, I liked his band on Facebook. And it turned out that he is actually friends with a dear old friend of mine from school who I met through my youth group when I was 16 years of age and have kept in contact with all of this time. I'm now 51, right? So he's best mates with my friend in Melbourne, and I live in Queensland. And he had moved up to Queensland, the musician. So what did that do? Well, I sat with that and I said, what is this calling me for? What is the reflection? How did I feel? What did it do within my system? What did it initiate within me to have this synchronistic series of events meeting with a musician? And what I discovered was that I had been stifling or suppressing my creative urge to sing and to play music again. I had been living vicariously through my son, who's an amazing guitarist, and I was gaining a lot of joy and a lot of magic from that experience, but I had been avoiding my own musical talent because there's some trauma wrapped up in my cello playing. I've been a cellist since I was 12, so my cello's been with me through all of the trauma that I've experienced through my life. I've even had accidents whilst holding my cello. So there's a lot of things that I would need to unpack in order to play cello again, apart from the physical damage to my shoulder. But I can pick up my harp, but I can sing, but I can lean into the music all around me. I can play more music in my household. I can go to more gigs with other musicians. And then to top all of this up, when I committed to getting my cello fixed, because why not? Because it's sitting there broken at the moment. What if I got it fixed? Who knows what that would take me to next? So I'm following the impulse to get my cello fixed. I also went to a shop 2 days ago to buy some stuff, my local health food shop, and got chatting with the cafe girl, who turns out is a harp player. And she hurt her hand months ago, so she's been doing some cafe work um, to keep the money rolling in. And spontaneously, my intuition said, ask her about harp lessons. So I asked, and she said, yes, I would love to do that because her hand's not back yet to where it needs to be for her to perform, so she can teach me. So this is what happens when you open and you step into the natural evolution of your soul. Who knows where it will go? Maybe the only thing that it's about for me is to experience more joy. Because when I experience more joy, I'm a nicer person. I'm a kinder person. I vibe with people around me. I love to share my gifts and my talents and my inspiration with other people when I am a happy person. And so you get to benefit from that. My kids get to benefit from that. My community benefits from that. I actually do sing in a choir because it's joyful, and we take our singing and give the gift of joy to other people who hear us perform. So this is how growth and skills. I had to learn how to sing. I had to learn how to play the cello. There are some tangible skills there. And now I'm going to learn how to play the harp so that I can be joyful in myself, self-serving. And as I am joyful in myself and I gain in skills, maybe I will be able to then take that harp and perform. Or maybe I'll teach someone else. Or maybe it will just be the joy that I share. Maybe it will have nothing to do with the tangible skill of using the skill of harp in my work. It doesn't have to be. It can just be for joy and ease and grace. Okay, this is going to be a big podcast today. I can feel it. So, do I trust my intuition to guide my growth path? This is a question for you. Do I trust my intuition to guide my growth path? This one's fun. Where am I over consuming instead of creating? Where am I just consuming information, gathering data, gathering stuff, filling myself up from the outside in instead of overflowing from the inside out? And there are a number of others, self-development, self-discovery, reflection questions in the book, buy the book, go through those, journal them out, open up to what your wisdom wants to tell you in this particular petal. There's also a journal, there's a big journal prompt and a meditation that you can do as well. So the growth petal is all about the ever-evolving journey of unfolding into the essence of who you truly are, not through striving. Please make this very clear. Not through striving, hustling, or climbing ladders, but through the sacred art of soul alignment, because then you unfold into the reality that you are always meant to be in. And success comes by default. Not by pushing, not by efforting, not by shoving and forcing your way into the world. It comes through refined processes from poise, from precision, intuitive precision. This kind of growth doesn't push, it listens. And it honors your rhythm, your pace, your rhythm of your being. There are seasons of expansion. There are seasons of rest. There are seasons of becoming more. And when you are tuned into your natural growth process, your natural evolutionary pace, everything becomes effortless and easy. It becomes fun and interesting and joyful. And it's okay if you have down periods. I got back from the USA and I was absolutely exhausted because not only was I very physically busy gathering, experiences and expressing and exploring, I was growing as a person on the inside. It initiated and ignited some latent things that I had been avoiding or wasn't yet ready for. And so when I came home, I needed a rest period to integrate everything that had happened while I was away. It appeared as exhaustion. But what I know to be true is when my body calls for rest, it's because it needs to integrate everything I've learned in my growth phase into the cellular structure of my being, into the energetic framework of my soul's blueprint. And even that is good and necessary. So don't fear the fatigue. Ask why. Not, why am I so sick? More like, why has my body asked for rest? What is it that I am called to learn in the stillness and the peace? So in the context of the me map, growth is not about striving for more information or more skills. It's not about being better or chasing external success, although that will arise naturally as a byproduct of being in your soul's center. It does happen, and it happens in most miraculous ways. So it's not about information over integration. It's about becoming more fully yourself and in divine resonance with your whole highest self and your soul's trajectory, the thing that was already naturally laid out for you for this lifetime. Think about that. This petal is inviting you to tune in and ask, what is my soul calling me to grow into next? That's that flow. Lean into the trickle and let it expand into a flow, right? Make the creek a river of divine energy and inspiration and intuition. So the skills, let's talk a bit to that before I wrap up. The skills portion of the petal honors the tangible real world expression, just to be really clear. Because growth wants an expression. Your soul's growth wants to be put to work. Not hard work, more like play, actually. There's an energetic of play when you get this right. So put another way, it's the translation of your soul's inner expansion into outer contribution. Skills are not just tools or qualifications, okay? They're vehicles for your energy, for your essence. They're the way that your soul interfaces and speaks with the world. So you might go out there and get a qualification. It doesn't preclude that. You might, like me, I felt the desire to serve as a nurse. So I was trained as a nurse. And I worked as a nurse, a holistic nurse, for 14 years alongside my publishing and my writing and my copywriting business. So those skills of nursing, whilst I don't use the tangible ones of patching people up, I still use the skills of nursing presence and the knowledge and the expertise and the skills that I developed through working with people on that level. I still use those within my publishing company. They haven't gone anywhere. Those skills are still inherent in who I am now because I integrated them. I didn't just gather all the tools and then use them and then chuck them away. I integrated it. It's now who I am, not what I do. Right? So your skills can be learned through courses and jobs and life experience and just, the school of life. I shouldn't say just. The school of life is, I believe, one of the most powerful teachers if we're listening, right? If you're listening and you're observing and you're looking at the reflections that are coming back to you through the people and the places and the things and the external reality that's giving you feedback. Remembering, go back to some of my other podcasts and listen about the biofeedback expression. I think it was the mind and manifestation petal that I talk about that at length. So, it can also be your healing hands. It can be the words that you speak, the natural creativity that you exude. Your role is to recognize, refine, and utilize your innate talents as skills, not for egoic success, but for sacred service. Self-serving, then your soul can serve others. Skills are where your soul's evolution becomes a reality. You might know a lot, but are you actually using it? Are you actually living it? Have you actually learned how to apply your growth as a skill? Sometimes the skill might be just navigating your mind. And when you hear negative critical self-talk, maybe the skill is practicing how to remember that you are a divine being of light and to be kinder to yourself and to ask that critical voice in your head to step aside, please, because that's not who I am. I'm a divine child of the light. I am growing and evolving no matter what that critical voice says. Remember the affirmation? The affirmation is your pointer. It's your compass, your reminder. So maybe that's the skill that you need to develop through practice, through poise and precision. Don't wait to be ready. The growth and skills pedal says don't wait to be ready to start to create. And it doesn't matter what you create, just start. Start to tune in. Start to listen more closely, more regularly, more obviously. Take 3 minutes out of your day to stop and to tune in and ask, where do you want me to grow now? Where do you want me to go now? Yeah. And then actually do it. Then allow the universe to bring you what it is that you need in terms of skills. So if you're struggling right now and you don't have enough money and you're growing badly, like maybe you're in reverse when it comes to finances, your growth is negative, right? This is so common at the moment. This is why it's come up, I guess, as an example. I'm listening to my intuition. So if you're in negative growth, financially speaking, you can observe that with a critical mind and get all frantic and chaotic about it. Or you can sit in stillness for a few minutes each day before your phone, before your emails, before your kids, before your husband or your partner, before your dog asks to be fed, or whatever it is that is pulling you away from yourself first thing in the morning. Just take a moment. Take a breath or two. Where would you like me to grow? Where would you like me to go? And just be still and allow an impulse, allow an information to pop in, allow an intuition to guide you, allow your body to tell you. And it takes practice to hear it, and the hearing might come in different ways. I happen to be I've been working with energy and spirit and intuition since I was very, very young. So I happen to be good at all the clairs, right? The clairsentience, clairaudience, clairvoyance, I can't remember them all off the top of my head, but I have very well developed senses. Also being neurodivergent is very handy. So you might need to practice the sense of where your intuition is going to come from. I do get body senses, impulses to move, as you heard in the story before, impulses to move in a certain direction physically. Sometimes my body yells at me with fatigue, no problem, or pain. And I sit with that and I go, okay, what do you need next? Where am I growing now? Yeah. Or maybe you hear your heart voice. And your heart voice gives you a sense of something, a sense of you need more love, you need more ease, more joy. And then you can ask, okay, show me how. Ask the universe, ask your guides, whatever it is that you believe in. Ask nature, please show me, reflect to me from the outside what I need to develop on the inside. Maybe it's clairvoyance. Maybe you get a visual. Maybe you get an image, a flash, a moment that just sparks in, and it's a tree. Go to a tree. Grow with the tree. Maybe you hear Clairaudience. Maybe you hear a voice, a clear, calm voice that says, drink water. Go to that, even if it doesn't make sense. Grow and go, right? Take the action. Follow your intuition. Allow those essence nudges to be expressed. Even if it's small, even if you can't see where it's going to lead, even if you have no idea why. Trust your intuition is going to let the fractal of growth unfold into greater and greater expressions of your natural gifts, talents, skills, abilities, essence. Please do this. Do this for you. Serve yourself. And then from there, you will be more able. You will not be in chaos anymore. You will not be, in the messy stage of the 4 phases of healing. You will be starting to move towards the knowing that I am growing, I am evolving, I am expanding, I am a worthwhile being, I am creative. I am in tune with what the universe has in store for me. And when that is the case, you will be absolutely flabbergasted at the magic that starts to unfold in your immediate reality. Now is a powerful time. Now is all we have. Every now moment is like a whole universe unto itself. It's an eternity. So what are you going to do with your eternity on Earth? Okie dokie. Oh my goodness, it's exactly 10:59 in Queensland, Australia. Just 1 minute for me to wrap up. Please like, comment, subscribe below. That's what you do on YouTube, apparently. If you want more of this, I would love to give you more of this. And I would also love you to purchase the book from my website. And if you are a health professional or you are a soul-driven, mission-focused, heart-led entrepreneur, and you've got something to say and you want to help others to rewrite their lives, then please jump down below, click the link to Soul Sky Publishing. There's a document there that you can have a look at. I publish people's insights, their IP, in as little as 6 weeks without you having to put pen to paper. Yes, it's true. No, it's not ghostwriting. No, it's not AI. It is your intellectual property. It is your words, your voice, your authenticity. But technology is such that we can get you published extremely quickly these days. So if you are ready, if you know that publishing a book is the next thing for you because you've got stuff to share, you've got wisdom, you want to help other people grow, you want to share the skills that they need to feel better on the planet, to expand into their joy and their essence and activate their creativity in whatever industry is right for them, then by all means, reach out to me and we can have a conversation about getting your book onto the shelves in Amazon ASAP. Okay. Love to you all. Come and join me next month for the economy and security pedal, the last one on the map. Really potent. It's going to be a big one. So please join me for that. Watch the other podcasts, listen to the other podcasts about all the other petals. There's also an introductory podcast about the Me Map so that you understand what it is you're looking at. And you can buy the Me Map Alchemy Guide from the website below. I think that's all I have to say. Okay, have a fantastic, beautiful, wondrous day or evening if you're in the US. Good night, sleep well, and I look forward to meeting you again on YouTube next time. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Bye.